This conference will now be recorded.
There we go. We'll get started now.
Yeah, just started.
Okay. Welcome everybody to the Roswell Infrastructure Committee meeting. Today is June the 17th and it is 2:00 according to the clock on the wall. And just as a reminder, if we need everybody to please sign in, make sure you sign in. And if you are a guest speaker or anything like that, we're going to ask you to please give us your name and address or telephone number rather than the address. Or maybe give us everything that you want to give us. Doesn't matter. Yeah, Social Security number. And for the record, I don't know, do we have Counselor, what's his name? Kevin online? I know he said he might be able to make it online. But for right now, it doesn't seem like he is, so I'll call the meeting to order, and if we can, we'll have a roll call, please.
Councilor Oropesa,
Here.
Councilor Johnson,
Here.
Councilor Arnold, here, Councilor Cavan, Councilor Moore.
Okay. How come you're over there? I'm over there. Yeah. If you would join us at the table so we can see when you raise your hand. So you guys. Okay.
Thank you, Daryl.
Hey, yeah, and if we can have Councilor Johnson, can we have a motion for the agenda, please?
Yes, Chairman, I would like to make a motion to remove regular item number 2. So we can, at the mayor's suggestion, that we remove this to a special counselor, the ICIP program here.
And so we have a motion to approve the agenda with the removal of item number 2 for a special counsel as per the mayor's request.
I don't know what it is.
ICIP.
The ICIP ranking.
Okay, so this is where we rank for the.
Yeah.
Well, in our
Well, it doesn't
suggestions,
say that.
we send our suggestions. Yeah.
It doesn't say any of that, so I wouldn't second something I didn't know what it was.
Review the ranking of the cemetery.
Okay, so we have a motion by Councilor Johnson, second by Councilor Arnold. Any discussion?
Keep on going.
If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
You're still in ICIP.
All those opposed, motion carried, and item number 2 will be taken off the agenda.
The what?
Can we have a motion to approve the minutes as read or any changes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of the infrastructure committee meeting from May the 20th, 2024 as received.
We have a motion. Second. And a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried. And we'll go into the regular items. And of course, we'll skip item number 2 and go to item number 3. Recommend award of RFP 24-013 Hobson Flood Prevention Design Project to Freed and Nichols, incorporated in the amount of $1,050,840, which includes GRT. And who's going to take this one?
Do that one.
And this one, is it going to go to finance?
And
Okay.
so, as you know, we have the Water Trust Board project that we've been working on 2 or 3 years. So the recommendation is for the design portion only. Just to refresh the trust board is $9 million, $9,602,000. The expiration date of the trust board money is June 2026. What you're being asked is to approve the design, $1,050,840. The request for completion of design is December 31st to have it done with the design. That would leave construction funding of $8,551,933. We're shooting for a target to advertise January 2025. Open bids February 25th, 2025. Award March 25. And then construction time, that would leave us April 2025, June 2026 to complete the project. What we did, we advertised this one in the newspaper and everything else. We had 4 vendors pick up plans. Only 1 vendor submitted it. What happened with 2 of the vendors, I don't know if you've heard the story, but in the engineering industry, engineers are like nurses, there's a shortage. And 2 of the companies already got hit hard by staff leaving their companies. So 2 of them couldn't do it because they no longer had the capacity to do it. Another one just backed out because they couldn't do the design. So that left us Friesen Nichols. So as you know, Friesen Nichols, if you've been paying attention to the Safe Streets for All, they're a big company out of Dallas, out of Texas, national company, and they're the only ones that put in for it. So that's where we're at. But I mean, I know the $1 million sounds like a lot. That's a lot to be done in 6 months. Survey, verify the drainage, construction plans, documents, coordination with the railroad, everything else, so we can bid it in January. And I stand for any questions.
Committee members, do we have any questions?
Has the money been already allocated or whatever that?
The loan has already been signed, the grant. That's a good question, Counselor. Just to refresh, of the $9,602,000, 87% is grant, 13% is loan. So what we have to pay back in 20 years is $1.2 million in 20 years, which is, I believe, is $64,000. And the loan documents are in your packet. I believe it's $64,000 a year for 20 years to upgrade Hobson. Refresh your memory, that's from the West Perimeter Road to the railroad tracks, where we already did the other project, all within city right away. That's all within the city right away.
Is that all the way to the fence on the west perimeter?
Yes,
Or it's not, doesn't start right there at,
the perimeter road is owned by the city of Raulville. So the right of way of the perimeter road, Mayor, is the city. So
but does it go, the perimeter road goes out of ways on Hops and then it turns left and then it turns right. You know, out there by the
Yes, that's-
westmost point is
the
the,
westmost point
is that
on Hobson Road, where that fence is,
or that's the only on Hops and it doesn't go around to the
negative.
other.
I mean, the perimeter road does, but not this project.
I'm just wondering how much of that water, I mean, are we catching all, you know, the big gun range is out there and that's real high and everything else down on that. Are we
Okay, so the way-
catching the
the way-
water that goes into the airport on south of Hobson Road? That's my question.
Okay, so as they designed in 2000, you start catching the water at the west end of the perimeter road. And then that's where we started storm drain on the north side of the road. So right there, what we're talking about with, some people call it Nevada. It's the west perimeter road. That's where you put your first set of drop inlets. And that's where your storm drain starts going to the east.
Then if we have to tear down that big gun range that's out there because of the air show, that's probably gonna have to go. And because of the air races, if, as I recall, then can we take that, all that dirt stacked up there and stack it along the fence south of Hobson Road, inside the fence? I'm just, it doesn't do any good to start on West Perimeter Road if all the water's entering south of the Hobson Road. You see what I'm saying?
Well, the drainage starts at the northwest corner of the perimeter road. There's property.
I know, but what's the highest point?
That's the highest point.
That's the highest point, so
Everything goes down from there, Mayor, to the east, towards the river.
Yeah, down from there, but south of there, this is my thing, is that on Hobson Road is here, is the gun site where they shoot the guns, that big mound, is it here or is it here?
I don't know the elevation, but that is south about half a mile, what I remember, off of this job site.
Okay, but I'm just saying, if that's not higher, then you're draining, everything at Hobson is gonna drain inside that base property. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, because when the levee broke, so to speak, it didn't make it to the Hobson, it jumped across, it went through the pipe yard, to Central, to the National Guard.
That's what I'm saying, that's why this thing needs to extend out at least where it protects that part of the city inside the airport. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, so we're gonna pick up the west perimeter drainage at that intersection. We're gonna have the drop inlets there. Okay, anyway, that's what we have there. And the loans in there and the RFPs in there for the scope of work. Not only will we be doing drainage, but while we're there, we have to, if you remember what we did 2 years ago on Hobson Road on the east side of the railroad tracks, we widened it and put those shoulders. That's what you'll end up with. You'll also end up with the widened road to assist the drainage. And the storm drain starts at the west end. You have a 36-inch storm drain going on the north side, the south side of Hobson. And then we switch it over to the curb and gutter section as you go from West Earl Cummins Loop to Main Street. Main Street, there's drop inlets already there. Then we switch that over to the ditch on the north side of Hobson between Main and the railroad tracks. Now we might have to make the ditch bigger. And of course, we'll have curb and gutter from the West Earl Cummins, hopefully to the railroad tracks, if we can squeeze it in. But if you can picture it, there's the railroad tracks on the south side of Hobson, east of Main Street, that's serving that railroad contractor.
Any further questions, Councilor Moore? Any other counselor, committee have any questions?
Yes, I have one, Chairman. The big drainage ditch that runs parallel with Hobson's right there. How does that cross the road? Does that go underneath
It's the
the junction of the 285?
where at?
285.
What, 285? There's some pipes there on south of the intersection of Hobson Road. And as you go south a little bit, there's a concrete box culvert.
Okay.
And I do believe that the DOT is involved in a lawsuit right now.
Yeah.
So our thing is to build detention ponds. As by law, we're not gonna put any more drainage any faster or any greater intensity than what's there now. So you have to have the detention ponds to hold it.
But you're working with the state in case.
Yeah, the state will be a stakeholder, the flood commission will be a stakeholder, the BLM will be a stakeholder. All those will be involved.
Okay, that was just my concern.
Yeah.
Because I know there's
There's a lawsuit over there. I know what that one's all about.
Okay, got you. Chairman, thank you.
Anybody else, Councilor?
And one of the detention ponds will be, if you can picture where the railroad tracks in Hobson are, the southwest corner that already fills up with water.
Yes.
We're gonna make that a detention pond, not only get Hobson, but it'll pick up some of the base housing that already drains that direction and it becomes a mud bogs there.
Councilor Hildebrand, do you have anything? Anybody in attendance have any questions? Anybody online? If not, then I guess we're ready for a motion to send to finance.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion, send this to the Finance Committee meeting and recommend the award of this RFP 24013, the Hobson Flood Prevention Design Project to Freeze and Nichols in the amount of $1,050,840.
We have a motion by Councilor Johnson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Moore. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. We'll go to item number 4. Recommend award of ITB 24-12 Roswell Inclusive Park Project Phase 2B to Alton's Landscape in the amount of $106,687.37, which includes GRT. Is this also going to finance?
Yes.
Who is going to take this one?
I'll do this one.
Okay.
I'm back. Okay, so Inclusive Park, if you remember, this is supposed to be phase 2, and we bid phase 2 once before. It came in double over. So we cut it to break it up into concrete, irrigation, everything else. So then we bid it out as phase 2A, phase 2B. On the second rebid, we got a taker for the concrete and the shade structures. We did not get a taker for the irrigation and the grade work. All the contractors that James and I spoke to during the bidding and after the bidding, they all contacted landscapers and that kind of stuff. They're all super busy. Nobody wanted to bid it. So then after the rebid, by state procurement, you're allowed to go find somebody to do the work. So Abraham decided they'd give us a bid on phase 2A, which you have there. We got $265,000. James was working with the local people and he got Alton's to turn in a bid, $106,000. So that's where we're at. So phase 2A. So what we're doing, this is from the original Inclusive Park. Inclusive Park has gone through a lot of changes. I think I'm the only one here that's been here through 3 years and all the cooks in the kitchen. There's been a lot of cooks in the kitchen for this project. So that's the nice way for me to say it. So where we're at right now, we've been to Inclusive Park, as all the cooks wanted to at a time. And then we didn't have enough money to, on the outside of the park, to put in the grass, the irrigation, the trees, the shade structures, and that kind of stuff. So we broke it up. The original phase 2, which is the north part next to the parking lot, with grass, trees, shade structures, that kind of stuff, irrigation system. And that's where we're at now, phase 2A, 2B. Okay, so we're gonna get all that built. As you look in the breakdown of funding that James provided in the packet, out of the funding from Inclusive Park number 2, once we pay all that, if there's no changes, we have about $129,000 left. And then we have Inclusive Park phase 3 money, which is $200,000. So possibility of $329,000. So this is not part of the motion, but I do have different sets of people that I'm dealing with now. So I'm open to comments and discussion. Management, government. So would you like us to continue phase 3 over here? Or are there other ideas that you would like us to spend the rest of the money? I understand there was a sign put up, which I understand was allegedly supposed to be for the park. We have not received any other money for this park except the legislative fund. So we haven't even put in a match. We've been using all city. The other thing I want to comment on is the water feature has been down. We've contacted, since before I left to Dallas, the contractor to get it fixed because it's still under warranty. His plumber is Rhodes Plumbing. And this is my opinion, but it's sad that our local contractor hasn't come up to here. And whatever the reasons, you know, it's the kids that are suffering. So the contractors reached out to Albuquerque plumbers because the Roswell plumber can't get in and over here. We've also had a request, I believe, from Parks, put in a hose bib, which is after the fact. But another way to handle this, anybody that's got a plumber, city department's got a plumber, fix it. Give me the bill, and I give it back to the contractor. Ways to handle everything. But right now, phase 3, any ideas? Yes, ma'am.
So phase 3 right now, you're saying, there's no trees and grass on that side?
No, ma'am. So phase 2 right now is tree, grass, irrigation, and we have some shade structures here, picnic tables with shade.
Mhm.
Phase 3 would be this half of the same thing, or any other ideas the government would like to have. If we're gonna have, if everything goes well, no problems, no material changes, we'll have about 329,000 between what's left in the change in the second grant, and we had 200,000 on the third grant.
When there's supposed to be some money coming in from somebody else, what happened to that group that started all that stuff?
Council, when we started this and you were part of it, it was Horizon,
The whole group, yeah,
two groups were, I remember
Right.
they had
some money.
sort of the fancy stuff and, but
Haven't heard.
everything is legislative money, because this management, the future, and the past management were all the same thing. Build it was without city money. So we've been building it without city money. And without outside money. So that's what I'm saying. This has been 4 years in the.
What would happen to,
Jim?
I'm sorry.
4 years, 5 years in the making, something like that. So that's where we're at right now. So, phase 3, I can put this one out again for more irrigation and shade structures, or if anybody,
You know, if you've ever been there, I mean, this has been a real cluster from the start, but, I mean, because first thing we did, in Bohannon, Houston, never even contacted the autistic people about what do you want in the park. But you turn around and if you go in there to that park, go in there and try to use it. Like today, you can't touch any piece of equipment in there. It's atrocious. There's no shade structure on any of the equipment that children touch. It's so hot, it'll burn your hands, it'll burn your feet. In the middle of that thing needs to be a big, huge pole, and then have something where you can, with enough slope to it, you know, some shade triangles or something where you can run it over the top of that play equipment so kids can use it.
So maybe that's what we should do with some.
I mean, I can't tell you how hot it is. You can't touch it.
so I agree with you, it's hot. Most of the parks are hot. The list of the playground equipment was what Horizon wanted. So all we took was their idea and the list, and so that part was answered. So 329,000, we can try to put up some shade structure over some of those features. I would like to know then, if that's the direction we go, which one has the highest priority? Because you have to remember that shade structure has to be rated for 118 mile an hour wind. So that's 4 posts at the minimum, and it's a structure. It's a structure.
I just, if you had a pole and had cables that came down it or something where you could stretch some canvas, whatever you do has got to be at enough of an angle, snow really won't stick. or you're gonna spend all your time. You know, but in the summer months, you've got to have,
Well, and you
can make something that,
they make soft structures, but then that would be maintenance for Jim to put up and take down every season.
So how many structures are we talking about? How many shade structures are we talking about?
Under what we're doing now
Yeah,
or for the future?
well, for,
Okay, so from what we're doing now, we've got these shade structures right here. All right.
But they're not on the equipment, those,
The whole idea, again, dealing with the previous set of cooks, the whole idea was kids in here, a security fence around it, so the kids would be safe. And mama, grandpa, and all them, we'd be sitting on the outside.
we get to sit outside in the shade, but they get to burn up on the inside, on the toys.
the inside.
We got about 329,000. But I know 329,000 will not build you, each of these little structures right now, about 45,000. That's a picnic table size.
you just got to have something over where those kids are crawling around. And I don't know whether you can tie it with the triangle stuff and, but it's got to be high enough to where the snow will come up if you don't take it down. Because otherwise it'll be like a water feature and you pay $350 a day to use it. So, you know, I mean, it's, I don't know how you do it now, but that stuff, the equipment is so hot.
Well, what's under here is compacted native material, and compacted base, and then the safety dome material, recycled rubber.
Yes, sir.
What's the dimensions of this area right here outside of the flash?
I could find that out for you.
So one large shade structure, that's where the bulk of your equipment is. It's getting higher in places.
So right here, like center right here, this is the radius point.
Yeah, that circle.
Mr. Chair, what about something like the softball net? You know, that, that went over the softball field, they have them where they are totally covered and not holes in between. What about something like that to put up?
You're talking about netting.
Oh, it's,
Well, she's talking about a soft shade structure, but I was saying that would be a maintenance issue for parks. Again, I kind of gather that shade is more important.
Well, 2 months out of the year it is.
Okay.
I mean, 2 months out of the year, it's blistering hot.
I take my grandkids out.
Yeah,
When it's hot, we can't take them. We gotta take them when it's later.
you know,
I think it's more than
Back in the day with.
More than yeah, nowadays you have to be 3 or 4, right? So.
But the shade structure for that big lot would not take up the whole $300 where you couldn't put some type of greenery or grass on that other side, right? It wouldn't take up the whole whatever money you got left, right? So you couldn't put a structure and do some type of greenery right there without doing the whole.
Councilor Moore,
I'm just asking.
my personal opinion right now, talking, grabbing numbers out of here, the shade structure would spend the
It
329.
would take the whole three. Wow.
The netting, just the netting, and I think it was PO, the second PO was 300,000. The first one was like 60 or 70,000.
Wow.
That was just the netting at the.
next,
And that's the next 300,000, that's what's remaining for phase 3, right?
Phase 3 is 200,000. If you look in your packet, we're estimating 129,000 savings,
Yeah.
remaining balance on the.
Right, so taking care of phase 2A and 2B,
You'll have 100.
and then getting a quote to just see a wrap, just a ballpark of what that could be, to see what we're up against as far as the shade structure.
We'll start,
I mean, that way we can bring that back and possibly have the conversation.
But the other thing is too, councilors, and Chad, we got the grant, we need to spend it. We don't want to give it.
Oh, exactly.
I agree, Louis, on our landscaping, is there any specifications in that landscaping for large trees on the, what would?
Yeah, there's a whole list of trees that are gonna go in here.
Part of this is the rotation of the sun and it goes across there. So if you had those on the east side, taller trees, it's gonna cast shade.
Yeah, and then our shade structure, or the shade, and then on the back side, they have a little tilt down to give a little bit more shade.
So Councilor Johnson, are you suggesting that, that we bring this back at a later time? Or not, information?
I mean,
I just wanted to pulse.
I think we need to, spend the grant money.
Yeah.
And, my biggest concern is, we need the water thing fixed ASAP. That is like a slap in the face when our local guys can't even come get it fixed.
Well, and Rose, I'll tell you the contract, and Rose is the contract.
And well, do we not call anybody else? I mean.
So legally,
Anybody else? And then give the warranty bill to,
That's what he said to
I
do.
mean,
What he said to do.
We can fix it within it. Do it, and that charge a con.
Is it invalidated warranty?
At this point in that, because we're already in the warranty period.
say we.
And we've already given them
Just to
the
get.
grace of 3 months to do it.
You extend the warranty out. Find a lawyer to sue them.
Yeah, let me come in here. I would prefer if we finish what was designed with the grass and trees and irrigation. You get that grass cooled down a little bit, that's gonna help. Trees falling off the shade. As far as the fountain goes, that is an irrigation valve. So we talked about cutting the concrete so you can actually get to it.
Concrete's already been removed. I took care of that.
If the concrete's been removed, that's just a bulk. So that's a salt on some glue. I don't know, you'd have to help me with the water spigot, but I get phone calls on that all day long too. So I don't see what the cost is. I have a valve somewhere, a couple of minutes, I guess the cost would be the concrete. So it's not a whole lot of money, I don't think.
Yeah, because when James said it needs a concrete removal, I said, get it done. Get it done. Let's start moving on it. So concrete's gone.
We properly noticed the contractor. and-
Oh, yeah, there's the emails, the letters. And that's how come I know it's Rose, and Rose has been involved in all that. I can give you copies of all the emails. If you want.
We've requested that they make the repair. They have not done it. We've done that in writing.
And the contractor's response has been kind of like ours. It said that the local his local sub is not reacting to his hometown.
so what kind of legal action do we have? I guess, question to his.
We'll take legal action is our action. No, so I'd have to review what documents have been sent over. But yeah, the short answer, the typical remedy is we can send another demand letter and ask for a refund, or we can do it and we can charge them. And if they don't pay back the charge, then we take them to court.
No, we'll tell them we'll send our plumber over there and we'll send you the bill.
Say
It needs
yes.
to be properly noticed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you
I mean,
charge how much? $1,000 an hour? There you go.
$900 an hour anymore.
And so legally, it's the commercially reasonable cost,
Yeah.
which judge will determine, but
So this is something that can be done like right away.
yeah, I mean, we could call them up first thing tomorrow and say, it has to be done at the end of the week or we're gonna do it ourselves. You've had more than enough time.
And send them the bill,
It
yeah.
doesn't make any sense for it to sit up there through the summer.
It'll be
Yeah.
summertime, they need it.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Jim, you had something else?
No, I don't know about your warning, but one, I'd like to keep that plan to put in the grass and trees and everything, right? So we can go from there. Once those trees are in, they do make shade covers that stick out this way. We'd have to figure that out. And if you want me to go look at that fountain, I will. That's a vault from the water department in a couple minutes. We'll get it put together.
Is there any further discussion on this item? Committee members, Council Hildebrand. Anybody else in attendance? Whether here or. And if not, I guess we're ready for a motion to send to finance.
Yeah, I'd like to make a motion that we send the award ITB 24-012 Browser Inclusive Project TB to Alton's Landscape for the amount of $106,687.37, which includes GRT.
To the finance committee?
To finance.
Is there a second?
I'll second. She said to the finance committee.
Okay.
I second.
Any further discussion?
And so that, just to make sure we're clear, this plan is go ahead with the green, like we're sticking with the plan for now.
Yeah, well,
The trees and landscape with that extra money, that's what we're talking.
and this is only for these two, Counselor.
Phase, okay. And we,
The north half next to the parking lot, so we would assume easier for you to take your picnic stuff right there and watch the kids.
you're not doing the tree.
It is as presented.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried unanimously. And we go to the next one, item number 5. Consider a recommendation to approve scope of work for RFP 25XX to provide professional engineering and architectural services.
So what we're doing here, Mr. Chairman and Councilors, is we're in our third year of our engineering and architecture firms. Some firms have been bought out, gone under, and there's new firms wanting to come in. So now we're gonna open it up so we can hopefully get more firms on our vendor list. It just makes it better for future endeavor. We get more experts, like Reese and Nichols, they're not on our vendor list. Stantec's not on our vendor list.
Questions from committee members?
We'll advertise it again, and that's how an outside company is not on our vendor list gets on the RFP when we put it out again.
Mr. Hildebrand, you have anything? Anybody in attendance have any questions?
No, really, because so that just kind of saves time that we have our vendor list.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
new people just save us time when we get ready to start the next part. How difficult is it now if you got a shortage of engineers to add to that list? If you say you're shortage of engineers.
It's in there. They're a big national firm, so we might start seeing national firms come into Roswell. I think with the races getting national attention, so there might be some out there, but there might be some bigger firms that come in. I don't know what's gonna be asked of engineering and the air center. So, yeah, let's get some new vendors. As you saw in the packet, we advertised in July, get it in August. And September, we have a new list and we need something rocking and rolling and going again. And those vendors that we have now, they're good till December 31st and the third year goes on, but we don't miss a beat. We've got our list continuing.
Anything else?
And this can go to regular council. There's no money because just making a list of vendors.
Can it go on the consent?
Yes, ma'am.
We're gonna have a motion.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to make a motion to consider recommendation to approve scope of work for RFP 25XX, providing professional engineering and architectural services
We have a motion by
to
Councilor
be added
Arnold
consent.
to consider. Okay.
I second that.
So motion by Councilor Arnold and second by Councilor Johnson. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carried unanimously. And the last item, action item, is consider a recommendation to approve scope of work for RFP 25YY to provide on-call utility repair services. And who's going to take that one?
Take it. Again, this is just like the engineering services. This is for utilities. As you know, the last council and finance committee, there's been difficulty getting a manhole rehab because that company went under the past 3 years. And now we can add the manhole rehab, maybe get some other utility people that want to be in our vendor list. Water lines are not gonna stop breaking, and utility lines and so on and so on. So again, we just want to rebuild our list. The vendor list that we have now goes to December 31st. They can run concurrently, there's nothing wrong with that, but at least we're rebuilding our list for future work and minimize future delays. Because right now with the manhole rehab, we'll probably have to wait a little bit on that one so we can open Atkinson, because we gotta let that work happen. I stand for any questions.
Questions from?
Yeah, Trevor, how many players have you got interested in?
Okay, so right now our list is Albuquerque Underground, AUI. We have Smithco, we have J&H, we have White Cloud, and New Mexico Line Stock for 5. So we have right now, we'd like to add Adame. Hopefully he'll respond to that. I understand there's a newer, younger company in El Paso doing manhole rehabs. Reach out to them to see if they want to respond to the RFP. And again, an RFP, they just send in their qualification, experience, their licenses, and they're qualified. And when we need them, we send everybody a quote, and let their quote speak for themselves.
So if I'm understanding you correctly, this RFP goes out and it is established with all the players on hand. And when there's a infrastructure malfunction, everybody sends in a quote. And then this saves us like over 60,000. All we need is bonds,
Late decision.
wage decisions, and we go to work.
Yes, sir.
I like it. Perfect. Yeah.
And we're in the 3rd year of our 4th year. But what's happening, CRC went out of business. We don't have a manhole rehab, so.
I love the competitive pool.
We're putting out the engineer. You want to put out your utility? Then yeah, let's do it. So it's being proactive.
Any other counselor? Counselor Hillsbrook? Anybody in attendance? Anybody online? Have any questions? If not, Mayor?
You know, I mean, this is all good if it's a big thing. But you know, also what happens when you have this, when you have the minimum repair ends up being 60 grand in a lot of cases. You know, I mean, you might have a repair that Bill's Plumbing, go fix it for $5,000 or $10,000, but because you have this, your minimum bill is going to end up being about 60 a lot. And you have to be real careful with that. And you know, I don't know how you bid in every job, I don't know, but
What we do, Mayor, we send out the quote to fix it, 12-inch line or whatever it is, to all the vendors. They submit a quote and we go with the lowest quote. We had a couple under 50. The thing is, the reason we have this is typically for the large diameter pipes.
no, I understand.
So a lot of the contractors can't handle that. I mean, constructors doesn't even bid on it because they no longer have a utility crew. They cannot handle
The
that.
majority of the repairs will probably exceed 60,000. And that's why it's important to have a price agreement in place like this. For the most part, we can fix a lot of stuff ourselves that are probably under 60,000. It's good to have somebody, and then a good competition pool is, I think, more attractive. But you're right, it's
Well, I mean,
expensive.
so you have John Q. Public that's out digging in the backyard or something and hits a water line. I mean, that guy is going to be on the hook because he didn't call beforehand or whatever, and he's on the hook to pay for it. But you could very easily have just sent him something that could be a $5,000 bill for anybody else to fix. You could have sent him a $60,000 bill if you send it off to somebody else, and that's what they come back and charge you to fix it because they're the only ones that are on the list to pay to fix it. I mean, there's a little double side to some of this stuff that's why, you know, I mean, people do dumb things and they dig without always calling, but then sometimes lines aren't where they're supposed to be.
True.
And so, but that guy that does that where it's not supposed to be, he's going to get a $60,000 bill. And, I mean, is it right? I don't know. This is a good way, yes, it's the way it works. But sometimes there needs to be some judge about whether or not the true price of what they're paying to fix is something that happens. Because, if a guy has money, I mean, he'll pay the 60. If he doesn't, they just say, go to hell, and you're at the end of the rope. And so, there just needs to be some way where you can, some level of integrity or hours or whatever else.
Lower level plumber you could call, besides roads.
That's what I was.
Yeah, but you can call other plumbers that can fix stuff.
Sure.
Councilor Moore.
We're not just tied to just those 5 that's on the list, right?
No,
So if something comes in, we could go to roads right here, even though
no, man,
roads ain't fixing nothing.
Right.
But I'm just saying, so you only can use the 5 on that list?
for the large diameter.
No, this is just for big stuff.
This is
So-
big stuff.
And again, that's for stuff that's just over the 6, normally, not just.
No, we're talking on the size of the pipe.
So,
The 14-inch pipe, the 18-inch pipe, the 48-inch pipe that I can walk through, bending over, I can walk through. It's for the large diameter pipe. It's for.
4 inch to 54
so
inch.
the local ones wouldn't even be, the other wouldn't probably be doing anything.
We have, Councilman Johnson, just as when you tie on sometimes, there's smaller ones, but we only want the guys for the big stuff.
54, 60, and 48.
And kind of go off what the mayor is saying, the country club hit, what was it, our sewer line. And so we called the guys, got the quote, and the country club said, we'll hire somebody on our own.
Yeah.
And they did it. We had our guys inspected and they did it. Surely cheaper than us, but there's wage decisions, there's bond, there's all sorts of stuff that we require, and we're just following the procurement regulation.
But that $60,000 fix was what they were gonna be billed, and they fixed it
They're
for
like, no.
probably less than $5,000.
Got it fixed, they got it.
I'm just saying, now if nobody remembered that there was a water line going or sewer line going across there. I mean, it's not marked anywhere. Some of that stuff's not marked on city maps or county maps, and so, but because of that, they'd have got stuck with a $60,000 bill when somebody was out there doing a good turn for nothing. And to get stuck with 60, there's no reason anybody'd ever help anybody again. You could be out there digging a grave and hit something.
Absolutely.
Because none of these lines are marked anywhere. So, I'm just saying, sometimes we got to be careful because these procurement loads can be a license to get a bid to fix a water valve, and then all of a sudden you don't have time to do it. And so what's going to happen? There's no punishment for anybody for just telling us, well, we'll fix that this winter. Obviously, they don't seem to be too excited about it, but we paid them. So, but anyway, I'm just, I don't know. There's 2 sides to every issue, and you got to look. It's just like we come in here and we talk about all this stuff. How many councilmen were in here and had something to say with item 2 about the ranking of all these priorities and what? How many people got together on the council and said, oh, this is what we want to do for our city? But I don't think that meeting ever happened.
But that's what number 2 was about, is us doing that initial start. We weren't already ranking them. It was time for us to talk about, that was time for us to talk about and decide, right? So that's what it was. There wasn't no decisions on putting it in an order right
We never
now.
got together to talk about.
I know, but you do it in each committee. Each committee does their reviewing of the things that apply to them. And then we have a big one and we talk about all of them. But each committee gets to talk about the things that are decided for them. This was a chance to talk about it outside of a big old gigantic, everybody present kind of thing.
You sit there and you've got 500 kids or 600 kids playing baseball get $2.1 million. And you go over with 1,000 kids playing soccer over there and the other one's playing flag football and there's no lights anywhere over there. All I'm saying is, when did those kids have a chance? Nobody ever had a chance to for him to tell you that he needed lights over part of it. We got them all for the baseball fields.
I think that's a discussion for next,
Well,
or for a special meeting. Because we've already taken item number 2 off of the agenda.
oh, I understand. I didn't interrupt anything. I'm just saying the system.
So I said to me that information is going to the ICIP.
Well, I understand, but
But for right now, I guess we're still on item number 6.
And need a recommendation to send it, please.
It's another one consent.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you calling for the?
Yes, ma'am.
I can make a motion to send to consent the recommendation to approve the scope of work RFP -25-YY to provide on-call utility repair services.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Moore and a second by Councilor Arnold. Is there any other discussion?
just on this, should there be a place for a person who happens to cause the problem to appeal the cost of that service? I don't know, should there be a place to appeal it to the council?
Well, I think that's a question for Chad and legal.
Yeah, that would have to go in the ordinance, which it currently isn't.
And I guess that's something that should be coming up in legal. If Councilor Hildebrand would like to address that and maybe look at it for next time.
We need to vote.
The,
Yeah, see?
yeah,
Let's see if shade struck.
Negative.
yes, there was.
I think there was.
Yes, so if they done a motion, they could go into this huge tent, and that's what I think that gentleman is at.
No, there was
We
a,
don't, on the original city drawings, no.
On the original drawing, there was. Yes.
So it's not there anymore.
no. All right,
I don't remember the structure of Horizon. What we did with the Horizon drawing, we got the playground, the list of the equipment that represented it, and we put those features on the park.
I have the original drawing from the home, where they have that speech. I'll bring it out for you. Okay?
we need to vote before we start talking about something else.
Yeah, let's,
We haven't voted.
No,
She's talking about something else.
let me wait. Councilor Arnold to come back. So Hess, is that something that can be looked at for the next legal?
Yeah, absolutely. There's just a little more information about what you'd want it to look like.
I don't understand what you're saying though.
Yeah, that's just clarification about what it would be.
If I don't want to pay the 60,000, I can just say, I'm just confused at what is supposed, so I don't want to pay what you're asking, so I can appeal not to pay it.
Yeah, potentially. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Well, my thing is if the city has only this one contractor and it's a $5,000 repair and they send a bill for.
it's an array of contractors, a bunch of them. It's, how many contractors? we're on?
Right now.
5 and they're trying to get
Right now,
more.
Yeah, and they all 5 bid on, they quote, hey, we'll fix 64 inch, 54, X amount of dollars. And then I would assume that's, yeah, it's very competitive, and I assume the city would take the lowest one. Unless somebody's quality ranking went down bottom line, there would be a lot of variables that dictated that. And, it's not like somebody's going to hit a shovel and break a 54-inch line. These are going to be ones that break in the middle of the streets. And there's something where we need right now somebody to come over here, dig up half a block of street, replace the line. And I don't think digging a grave, maybe, there may be some graves around here we may hit. So I think you mentioned a grave, somebody digging a grave in Boston too.
Probably not one of the big ones.
Not one of the big ones.
We've dug water lines that hit found graves.
Yeah, exactly.
We haven't dug graves and broke water lines.
But, these are probably something that's attractive to the city, especially on a grand scale of a major blowout, having these guys readily available.
I'll talk to you. It's all right.
We have a motion by Counselor Moore, second by Counselor Arnold on item number 6. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, the motion carried and it's going to consent.
Yes.
And so now that's the end of all the action items. So we'll go to non-action item number 7, open discussion on possible traffic calming policy.
So, Mr. Fritz, there is someone online who's trying to send a message. It says, hidden while screen sharing. Show my private message.
That's the Rockville Daily Record.
Oh, okay. Signal is going on.
Wonky.
It's called.
I don't know what wonky means.
He's having trouble. Hers is going in and out.
Okay, internet access is good.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay, so before you is the traffic calming policy discussion. I think Mike's heard this one before, last time in 2018. And so y'all get complaints for speeding, 4-way stops, signals, all sorts of stuff. I understand to the grapevine, there's gonna be a petition being submitted for the people from 8th Street for speeding. There's a possibility of another on Alameda, that group in a petition. So I just thought it was time to bring this back up again. In your packet, you have the traffic calming policies for Albuquerque, which is a big one, and then you have a smaller one for Farmington. So traffic calming is a way of responding to lots of traffic, speeding, just a lot of stuff comes in. Let me just share with you what we're doing. You've all seen the radars around town. We use those radars. So when Chad calls me down his street, they're speeding and he's persistent. So it's a persistent citizen. We rotate them. We have a list and we put them out there. What that's doing, that's gathering the data of what time they're speeding, how many in the hour of the day, time of the week. We usually leave them out 2 or 3 weeks. And it helps a little bit, but it gathers data for us. The other thing that we do that's been requested, all these streets want speed bumps, speed humps. Speed bumps and speed humps, I have a couple around town. But as a rule, the policy is no. And if we want to put them around, if you read those policies, most cities say Jim Burris wants speed humps on his street. They have to submit a petition, and 60% of the people, at least 60% of the neighborhood, have to agree. Let me tell you what happens with the speed humps. The emergency services don't like them because, when they're responding to emergency, they're trying to get there in a hurry. So some of these that come out like that, the rubber ones. So an installation of rubber ones is about $3,000 each. If you want it effective on a residential street, you got to have them every 300 feet. So, ching, 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 as we go down the road. And then you can do the asphalt ones. The asphalt ones I have are on Deming, because we had people coming in really hard when we were building the bridge. That was the only way to slow them down.
Washington, Monterey.
By Monterey, in the alley.
Yeah.
The alley. And then we've used rumble strips a lot. This is 19th and Garden. Let me tell you, the thing is with rumble strip, whatever, this is the only one that's lasted. So if Juan calls and complains about his neighborhood and I put rumble strips, everybody's all for it, but as soon as we put the rumble strips, the family living next to the rumble strips wants them taking them out. Because now as the cars are going by in the middle of the night or whatever time, they hear the clinkety clink of all the traffic. But the ones, and when we were getting the, what was it, Morgan Street and all those shows, we put them up there, they lasted about a month, take them out. Put some more over there on Bill Dennis's subdivision, they work good for a while, and people complain, take them out. These are the ones that have lasted the longest. We had some on Garden for speeding north of Berendo. We put them in, everybody was happy, all of a sudden the people that live next to them, take them out. So there's a lot of give and take. So you got a couple of sample policies. The other thing is you have a policy so you can respond consistently. The other one is all this costs money. Then you have to have a traffic calming budget so you can kind of do it. And then once they're in, what's the policy to take them out? Complaints again, another petition or that kind of stuff. I bring it to you because my radar says there's some petitions coming in and trying to be, if you guys want me to continue, we can continue with the policy. In 2018, it died right here. It's just a discussion.
But we really don't have any policy to speak of.
No, the policy is for city ordinance. The city engineer has a lot of control on that kind of stuff. So I look at everything the best I can. So I have a few speed humps around town. I have more speed humps and bumps in alleys. Lions Hondo. Yes, trash people know. And then we have some over here by the Garden Bridge, Roswell Livestock. That alley that supposedly comes into Garden, that's not an alley, that's private property. So we've had to put them all along there to Garden, keep people there from speeding, because people even speed in the alley. Ashley's Furniture fenced everything off, and people were still cutting across. And I did it myself before that was built. You cut across the Sears parking lot to go from Richardson straight to Albertson, and I had to go all the way around. So I actually cut it off, and then they built the fence, and people were still speeding. So I got speed humps back there, asphalt ones. So I use them sparingly because they also create other problems and noise issues. Motorcyclists don't like them. Bicyclists don't like them. Emergency services doesn't like them.
Do you also conduct speed studies for certain areas that you get good complaints on?
Speed studies.
Okay, so what criteria do you have to meet to get a speed study? I mean, Sunset is just totally out of control. I got constituents beat me up on a daily basis of people going 70 down Sunset. I mean, from West Second all the way to the base, you got the McGaffey stop. Other than that, you see people doing 55, at least you know they're not going 70. So
okay,
I mean it's out of control.
In Sunset, we get a lot of concerns.
Oh yeah, it's out of control.
Sunset is classified a minor arterial. So classifications, you got residential, collector, minor arterials, major arterials, and then the highways. So typically, you don't want to put them in residential. No. But we've done studies. I can do that study for 2 weeks on Sunset, print out the report, send it to PD. They can see what time it is. What time is the best time to go
Right tickets.
The other thing that we did in 2018, these things come with back cameras. So when you set it off going forward, we'll get a souvenir of your license plate in the vehicle, and we can send you a lovely letter. And that died here in 2018.
And our ordinance, we'll have to have a special ordinance for,
Yeah, traffic calming, we typically require an ordinance, a policy. That's why I've given you samples. Next time I gave you Albuquerque, which is the fatter one, and then Farmington, which is a little bit less. And just getting the pulse, letting you guys know what I see coming down the road with citizens complaining. If you know anybody in Enchanted Hills on 8th Street, there's a petition going around. And it's gonna come here and it's gonna come to infrastructure, or it's gonna go to Mike and public safety. And then all I'm saying is, I handle it the way I usually handle it, look at all the circumstances. You guys want a policy, so they brought a petition, and then get over 60% of the people do something. But for speed humps to be effective, they have to be about every 300 feet, 200 feet, depending on the speed limit. Now, if you can imagine that, you guys have been out to bigger cities and they do them. Personally, I don't like them because typically what happens, people stop using that street, they go down to the next street. All you do is move the problem. And typically the problem is the same. Juan's always late to work, and you can see his truck going down there and cranking and coming back at 5, you know. And that's what the radar sees. There's always patterns. There's always patterns that we can pick up. But again, it's just a discussion. Don't have to answer it now. If you guys want to, yes, Mayor.
Yeah, you know, really, I think everybody got to go over there from that speed bump on Deming. Because I'm gonna tell you, there was one guy went down that and he didn't land until Richardson. It's pretty big speed bump when you hit that one on Deming.
Yeah.
If you're going east.
I put that one there because we almost had them take out the workers, take out the equipment because people were not slowing down. And when we opened it up, people were even going faster, but I need to look at it again. But I was hoping it'd wear it down by now.
Another one was that you need to look at, I mean, when you miss minis, there are so many little kids on 19th that leave there in the winter when it's dark as dark can be. And, you know, there's not near enough parking there for all the little girls that miss minis, and, you know, the kids are not just girls. And there needs to be something there and better lights. And, you know, Church on the Move, if you go over there and see, they have a crosswalk there that's kind of set up, and occasionally they'll put cones up. But you can't see anybody even getting ready to walk across that street or anything. If they're going to have a crosswalk, there needs to be a crosswalk, and it needs to be lighted where you can see who's there. You can't see people.
And Mayor, 2 years ago, I'm going to think about 2 years ago, I did meet with Church on the Move when they brought that up, and I said, put those up, here's the regulation, sign, and I also recommend you put the lights on each end. Miss Vinnie's, there's letters from the manager, the attorney, 2-3 years back, and we were getting a bunch of that when it first started, well, the last time it started. And Miss Vinnie was given a year to find a place to park the vehicles, because Miss Vinnie's is the problem. I put in a light because there was a power pole over there, so I had XL put an extra light. But the position that was taken then was that's a private business for profit, and they're causing the problem. Why should the city have to fix it? And how are you going to fix it? Are we going to provide parking? Some of you said, well, they don't park in the baseball fields, cut a parking lot in the baseball fields. I don't think so.
We got private business over there, youth football, flag football. They wrote nasty letters to old Burris about him, everything, all kinds of nasty letters, and those people are making money on something in a city park.
Yeah, but I mean, Miss Minnie's and Church on the Move, I've been involved with those people. Recommendations have been given, and
Louis, have you recently put one of those speed study Machines identifier over there on 19.
19th, in front of Miss Minnie's? I haven't recently.
No,
We'll put it on the list.
no,
You drive it?
I drive it.
Did you? Maybe it was 8th Street.
I've got some on Cherry.
We've got some new ones up.
Yeah. What they do, they rotate.
Okay.
They rotate. And I think if you look on my engineering report, monthly engineering report, you see where they're at. Right now, we've had them on Cherry for a bit to help the people as they get to Atkinson and they're speeding the garden. Hopefully I'll take those down once Atkinson's open and rotate those somewhere else. We've had them on Alameda because there's been a group complaining on Alameda.
There's a couple of them still up and down.
Uh-huh.
You got one Mescalero as well.
Yeah, there's one in Mescalero, because there's a complaint over there that Kentucky and Mescalero should be a four-way stop. We've done 3 studies that I've been involved in. Yeah, when there's church, when the school lets out, when they get out from the hospital, it's busy. Other than that, for a 4-way warrant, and even the Safe Streets for All, if I remember, kind of stated that some of our 4-way stops are not warranted. But you have to have an 8-hour, typically you'd like to have for a 4-way stop, 300 vehicles an hour for 8 hours. And most places around the school, you don't have those. You don't have, yeah, they get busy. And we're fortunate enough that Roswell rush hour, rush 15, 20 minutes. I mean, we're very comfortable in our rural type of living. When I'm, the 100 days that I did in Dallas, kind of refreshed my mind what traffic was. Just in the part of town that I was in, or the neighborhood, their neighborhood collectors were 6 lanes.
Do we have any questions, comments from committee members? Councilor Hildebrand? Mayor, you got anything else?
No, I'll be quiet for a little while.
Any comments from individuals that are attending in person? Anybody online? Have any comment? If we don't, so we'll go to reports.
And the reports are in the packet. We have solid waste here, and engineering, and parks. Becky. Yep, and transit.
And we'll start with solid waste. If Abraham wants to give a report.
You don't have to.
Well, if there's any questions you might have on it, it's in your packets. Here now.
Committee members, you have any questions for Abraham? I guess not. And we'll go to Roswell Transit and Fleet Maintenance. Becky?
Available for questions if you have any.
Committee members, you have any questions? If not, we'll go to Streets Department. And I see Monica is the only one here for streets.
She'll answer question.
Any, you want to give a report or?
We've done all of our, feed and plate. We've done milling and we've done all of our striping for the year. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but the striping looks beautiful out there. Anybody have any questions?
On a couple of streets, it looked like they were a little drunk. They look good, but they do look good. Some of me, I'll be like, why is it?
Yeah, it's time to clean the nozzle, got a little windy, there's a few things there.
By design.
We're telling it was on purpose, okay.
And while you look when we're talking streets, if you look on the ICIP for engineering, we're only asking for one thing. We want to finish Mescalero on the west side where we left off. And that was next on the list. So the rest of the projects on our ICIP list, I just have them on there for funding opportunities.
And Jim, you got 12, 13, 14, and 15. Do you have any?
Oh my God.
Feeds them, you guys who work, all the crews been working hard. I'm proud of them, we're taking care of business. And there's many things that you might think are outside the scope of work. You know, we had Domingo and Robert hanging upside down, welding wire on the barrier. Eventually get it opened up a little bit. So they're just taking care of things. They're very proud of them. See the fish we put in the pond. Kids love that. Pretty much all the departments are taking care of business and we're helping each other. And we're doing a lot of extra things that you wouldn't think that we actually do. So it might just take
Like work.
everywhere.
Now, did they get the stripes on the trail and did they put arrows so no people know on the bike and bike trails which way you go?
So, you know,
Which
Mayor,
way to go?
I've reached out to engineering before they strike the trails. We're gonna visit, make sure everybody's satisfied with what we do before we do it. Right?
Yeah.
How about that?
Well, now, how are you gonna have arrows so they know which side to be on, which ways goes which? We don't want them walking like they do in England and stuff. We want to have them going.
We're gonna put some roundabouts there to slow everybody down.
On what?
On the bike trails. Okay, never mind.
Don't worry, it'll be a four-way stop too.
Mayor, do you want rumble strips on
Bike.
That would be me on my tricycle, Paula.
Yeah, we got anything else?
So,
Any questions for Jim? On 12, 13, 14, or 15?
yeah. Walker, bet going out there, working on them.
Okay.
I thought she said he was getting her a walker.
For the trail, man.
Should they?
Roxy, right there. There's Roxy.
Volunteer party, that's Saturday.
Looks sick, huh?
You know, what is it, 10 to 1?
One, but you and I have to be there. It's not.
Okay, that's gonna be fun too.
Are we looking at opening the east side parking lot at any time?
As soon as I know, I can see it.
Thank you.
If we had some manhole covers, you'd be done already.
You just give some other part of town.
The contractor is very working with us for across the street. Loveless, because a lot of folks go in there and have a picnic with party, family reunions. And he's been nice enough when someone's wanting to do that. He actually barricades that off so you can get over there, and that's very kind of him. Because that kind of disrupts what he's doing, and he has to fix it again later. So we're trying to work with the contractor, and they're good.
When Atkinson is finished and done with, then you are looking at opening it up and opening up the park at 8 o'clock.
We're working on hours on that too. Moving next year, like hours, and we're looking at staff. We've got individuals running the train now. One train to do it before. So we're working with what we have, and then we'll look at some other solutions, maybe to leave the park open a little bit longer in the evening.
You know, it was, from my personal opinion, when we had that opening for the tunnel, it was nice to see a lot of people over there.
It was.
A lot of people riding the train, or at least the 2 times that it ran for the there. And see people fishing. It was great. There.
And net, okay with the net, you see the size of catfish.
You know, I can't tell you for whatever the $300,000 or whatever we put in for that place to collect money and all that. And the second one, the first one blew away, but the second one, I wish should have been an Omen. But for what we spent there, if we could have that money back we got to figure out some way to fix the carousel. Because the carousel, you know, with the new lightings that they have now, it was set up, when I was in there looking at it, it was set up for regular 120 light bulbs. So you could do the same thing with LEDs now and, the old light need to be filled up and you can put in LED bulbs and stuff that don't use hardly any juice. And, but we need to get somebody to figure it out. We need to put a rheostat, not a rheostat, a variable speed motor or something on that thing to where it just doesn't start out and go so fast around. But I don't know how we could find volunteers that can know enough about electric work to design it and come up with that, because it's that thing, Stephen gave us that thing and
1971.
that's 50 years ago, 53 years ago, but all the bulbs, all that stuff, you got to figure it out. But somebody in Roswell can be an engineer that's retired where we can sit down and get a group of people to rebuild those carousels. I mean, the animals are one thing, but the lights, you go back and look at an old movie, of course, the lights are on black and white. You don't have them on color anymore, but because we didn't have that kind of film then. But you look at that, they were really an incredible showpiece at their time. And if we could find an engineer, a retired engineer or somebody, electrician who doesn't have to be an engineer, just somebody has to look and design know what parts to order to make it go as it goes around and not lose contact. That we need to get that thing going. That's got to be something. And if we had even a city party to fundraiser it, upgrade that thing to get, to get people to go and just give $300 or something, or $100, and have everybody go put money into that carousel to get it back.
And Mayor, Mr. Chair.
No, go ahead.
Just our first priority, as it should be, is always safety. So we were told under previous management that it was ready to go. It is operating, it is running. There's a gearing system. So there's a Teflon gear up top, kind of like plastic, and that had cracked and broke. It goes down to a shaft where it's got a pinion gear at the base. The pinion gear had broken teeth as well, so it was skipping. And so it was running that torque and vibration through that pole up into the upper yoke, which cracked it. So first things first, they started by replacing the cracked gear and found that in Carlsbad, but they hadn't replaced the problem that was creating the cracked gear. So my understanding, Jim Burris and his team haven't replaced or gotten a replacement part for that pinion gear at the base, and we've got this gear replaced. Now the problem is we've got the old mechanics and the machinery with the old belts that are stretched out and all those things. So when you go to hand brake it, it's not very slow, it's not very safe. And so to Mayor's point, the variable speed electric motor would be the costly item, but that would be the primary safety item for that. Jim and his team have worked well with our community volunteers. There's a great example of the volunteers' artwork in our library on one of the carousels horses. My understanding, they have 4 or 5.
I've done 4 or 5 already.
We've got 4 or 5 over at the adult center that they're working through right now. The main thing is we just want to do it right. There's some opportunities, I think, both for the volunteers on the figurines and on some of the paint work, the artwork around the carousel, where you've got some peels, you cut around that with a razor blade, and then you touch up to match the paint. So there's some of those things. I think the high dollar piece and probably the priority piece would be a variable speed motor, as Mayor says, and working out the electrical, moving that, converting it to LED, and you can get them all different kinds of colors and all those things. I will tell you there's $50,000 that is in budget for this next fiscal year starting July 1, specific to the carousel. There's another 40 or 44,000 specific to the animal enclosures. You may recall from the last 2 years, all the issues we'd had with USDA and PETA and so on and so forth. So they've done a really good job at the park. I bragged on them for all the things they've fixed, but one of the things I haven't bragged on them is for the animal cages and the work they've done there. And they did pass their most recent USDA inspection and did a great job with that too. So kudos on them. They haven't blown the bank and taken care of this stuff. They've just worked really hard to get it done.
You will find it.
One thing for sure, I know, we're in the right track.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And
Is that
I can't wait to see the whole thing working the way it was before.
Is that 50,000 gonna take care of that machine, the thing you're talking about?
So that's always the question. And to
You don't
Pierre's
know.
point on another issue, you broadcast out that you've got 50,000 and guess what the bid comes in for?
499.99.
Yeah.
Need a quote on a variable speed motor that would work to operate that, Jim. And I know Jim has been contemplating that and waiting till we got in the new fiscal year. I told him, let's get everything else right. Let's get the picnic tables, let's get the pond, let's get the train, focus on those things.
Restrooms will be done, hopefully, here it's next week. You build that.
Perfect.
Good.
Yeah, restrooms are important too.
100%.
And concession stand on the other side of the restrooms, so we can eventually get those open with snow cones and bottled water.
It's a lot better than
Rules sufficient.
porta potties.
11 and under.
So only 11 under can put the thing in the water,
Yeah,
but I can help, I can.
you help. They'll teach.
Anything else, Jim?
I'm good. I forgot about that. Okay. I didn't have any findings.
We go to item number 16, special electronics. I'm not sure who is.
Cliff, Cliff is that there under me. We have, for 6 months, Cliff's been on call, 7 days a week. We can't find electrician. Been happening lately is that he goes home, because crime doesn't end. And police always call him out to start looking at all the cameras as they're going down to the intersections to see which direction they went. But, we're looking for another one. But I mean, he's put up the flags for the Memorial Day, for Flag Day. Contemplating leaving them up for 4th of July, so I take them down again. He helped with all the special events. So, you can see on his report all the calls that he gets.
Yes.
And most of the police calls are in the middle of the night.
Okay, so let's go to item number 17, the last one. Engineering.
Any questions?
You've got a list of projects. So if the committee members have any questions, we can ask them now. It doesn't seem like we have any. So we'll go to public participation. Yes, ma'am.
Tracy Kane, Dorhofer, very narrow on the stripe, no speed bumps, Chicago Cubs mailbox, Mark. I just want to say I'm over there with the little darlings at the Boys and Girls Club, and the city of Roswell has stepped up. We have taken 2 field trips so far. We've painted rocks, we've done gardening, we've done everything. These little darlings absolutely love the court, and they really love the landfill. I'm telling you.
Field trips to the landfill. Life is good.
Experience, letting people who absolutely work the equipment, work the judge. I mean, he had them all up there. What was really very sad is one little 5-year-old, we have 5 to 12 years old. And anyway, the little boy says, well, I only get to see my father once a week because he's in jail. Are you going to take us to jail? I mean, it was dead silent in there. And then when they were out of the landfill, they were screaming and just having a great old time getting sprayed with the water, getting up into the equipment, which was absolutely grounded. They didn't even want to go home. Yeah, well, I did, so we took them home. But I want to say, water is coming out. Engineering, we will do it a later time so they can see what you're doing, but there are so many people that I have to say, no, I'm not going to be there more than 12 times during the summer. But really, they have stepped up in the departments, and I just want to say thank all of you who put up with 23 to 12-year-old. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else that is here? Anybody on? See anybody? And with that, our meeting is over, and with no objection, this meeting is over at 3:31.